Hello everyone, so I've got this. It's a Giant Trance X. Okay, it's quite an old bike. Today, talk about modifying for speed. So last year I did the FIM e-bike World Championships, and I took part in the E2 category, which is the unlocked category, which is all very well and good, but not every bike you can actually easily unlock without buying a dongle or some kind of device for unlocking it, where you actually interfere with the motor and interfere with the electronic system. Most bikes have a magnet on them on the rear wheel, which is on the disc, and we can see that magnet is here, covered in dirt, but there is the magnet. That magnet interfaces with a sensor on the left side of the stay here, which is plugged in and gives you your speed reading. There is a company from New Zealand called NLS Components who make a little device which, if you put it here, allows you, without touching the electronics in the system, to modify the speed by 1.5 times. I'm going to put that on the bike, but first I'm just going to get a baseline test quickly with this bike and feel the sort of top speed in turbo mode and see what the difference is. Alright, so this is in full power mode. It's an EU spec bike, so that means that it can go 25 kilometers an hour. Obviously this device will work on any e-bike, doesn't matter, you just need to order the correct one from the website. We're off-road here on a private land to get a bit of a feeling, different gears. Most people modify bikes because they want to have a better, faster transfer speed, but if you're doing that on private land, that's okay, but if you're not doing it on private land, then you need to respect the bicycle rules. Most of the racing that I do, probably do again this year in that category, is done private land, so you can unlock the bikes and you can have those categories under FMI rule. And considering there's no e-bike racing this year under the UCI, then it looks like it's a legitimate category. Okay, we've got our baseline test there. Now I'm not going to measure that with a speedometer because it's kind of pointless. I don't really care about that. We're not flying aeroplanes, so what I'm really interested in is figuring out, does it actually work, like from a feeling based point of view. So let's have a look now at the modification we're going to make. So when you order this, it comes from NSL Components. It's made in New Zealand. It comes in a little box, but you've got to order the right one for the right bike. I've been sent this. There's a little note in it. So, hey Alex, thanks for ordering and testing out the Speed Eye. We really appreciate it and look forward to your video. Okay, so they've sent it to me in order to try. Kind of, they were looking for rogue mountain bikers who are willing to try this. So let's have a look what's inside. A little box. It's a nice little box. So it looks like a 3D printed sort of plastic cog there, another plastic cog here, a little magnet which seems to fit in there and turns round as the wheel spins. So there's a lock ring here. Okay, I see how it goes. So we've got to replace the lock ring on the brake disc and just screw this in. It should be quite simple, so let's see if we can get that done. That's how it works. There's a little magnet. You see that magnet? It sort of rotates round inside the case. Quite clever. First we've got to take the wheel off and remove this lock ring. It's got my handy Shimano lock ring tool. This is a Feedback Sports one. Alright, it's on 40 Newton meters. It's pretty tight. Let's get this. It's off. So if you look on a standard disc, there's my magnet. It's kind of on this is a Yamaha motor, which is a Giant motor, so it's got this magnet here. Anyway, let's see how we put this on. Make sure you read the instructions. So, obviously, I'm not going to read the instructions. So, this just pops out quite easily. There's a nice groove. Tough plastic, this. It's obviously 3D printed, high quality. And it's been CNC finished, I can see that. This lock ring, we put the thing back on the bike. So we place the lock ring on the bike. So we take this part, that clips on like so. The little magnet thing fits in position. Let's clean that surface down. So it's a very precise fit, I can see. So I think I'm going to put the magnet in just before I've pushed it home. I can see that this could break if you yank it too much. Now we need to just position the magnet inside there. Never done this before. I haven't even read the instructions, so this is kind of a good indication of how. There we go. Right, let's just put it into place a little bit more. Just whack it in. Obviously use tools which are not designed to be hammers as a hammer. That's a sensible thing to do. So total time, I don't know, 5 minutes. I really don't know what I'm doing. I've just sort of guessed. I'm sure that, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And you can't even see it. There it is on the bike. So this bike makes a normal sound. which is kind of noisy because it's kind of old, but there we go, whatever. Let's go and try it and see if it works. Don't forget the channel is sponsored by Liat. I'm wearing their Enduro 4 helmet. I'm wearing it without the chin guard. You can also wear it with the chin guard. So don't forget to check out Liat's website for all the latest gear for 2025. Yeah, it's definitely faster. You can feel it. Don't hurt yourself, Alex. So yeah, you can feel an elevated speed for the power. Off-roady flat trail. Let's try it in top speed mode. Let's go here. Yeah, we're flying here. This is flying. It doesn't seem to have affected the performance of the torque. It seems pretty reasonable, but the top speed is definitely up there. The motor's pushing still. And I don't use a display, so it doesn't really matter. Yep, that works. Okay, so that seems to work. I'm actually impressed how simple that was to fit without any faffing around. So that's quite impressive. It definitely works. It's very simple. Quite very simple. The simplest modification I've ever seen for speed, apart from just say having a button you can press on the computer, like the Polini has a lights on button. Obviously you need to get the right version for your rear hub or your bike. The idea is to use this bike for racing in the category E2 from the FIM World Championships, e-bike World Championships. The UCI messed up, but FMI or FIM didn't, so we can still use it. Honestly, it feels more like a USA tune in Europe, so the 32 kilometer an hour. Apparently it's got a 1.5 times of the speed, so if you instead of going 25, if the bike tops out at 26 kilometers an hour and times that by 1.5, it should give us a top speed of 39. Okay, bike tops out at 32 kilometers an hour, which is the class 1 USA tune, times that by 1.5. And we get 48. So between 38 and 48 kilometers an hour instead of 25. It's quite a big change actually. Other countries in the world, I think it depends. I think in New Zealand, they don't really have a speed limit. I think they're kind of like got an open system, so I can understand why they sort of fitted it. The original idea of this was because a guy who came up with it basically said, hey, he got to a jump or something and he wasn't going fast enough and he cased the jump because the e-bike motor didn't give him the push that he wanted, so that's where he came up with this idea. So I can see it's kind of useful in bike parks actually, on descents if you're using an e-bike. You don't run into that motor limit. So it's a very easy way of converting any bike basically without modifying the electronics. Very simple, in fact the simplest solution I've ever seen. Well done, NLS. This little device is very low volume, made in New Zealand, so I think it comes in at about $99, so pretty reasonable price. It's an ingenious device for those who want to race FIM off-road E2 category unlocked. One could argue also it's a competitor for the DJI bike, you know. One last thing to say is I did notice that the torque didn't really change. It just sort of, the motor thinks it's going faster than it is. Riding uphill when it was steep, it didn't really feel like it affected it much. The motor was pushing normally. That's where these unlocked bike racing, really, you feel the difference is more on the flat sections on the trail. Don't do it on public trails or public roads unless you've got the correct documentation. The good thing I like about it is you can take a normal bike without any crazy electronics modification and pretty low knowledge. All right, okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video, and let me know about all of your secrets. I'll leave a link in the description for being able to get hold of this device. Okay, thanks, bye everybody.